I welcome all of you, and you are watching the regular videos or series of the questions asked last year in interview in IOCL interviews for IOCL selections. So, these questions are on the basis of the feedback or the interview experience of the students, and those experiences have already been shared on the channel or on the panel of your PD education. So, you can listen to those detailed interview experience of the students, and these questions are taken from there, which we found good and which I thought of discussing with you. Maybe they can be asked once again. So, those questions I am asking and discussing with you. Now, the question asked in IOCL interview from thermodynamics was, there is a glass of water and the room temperature is 27 degrees centigrade, and the temperature of the water in the glass is also, let us say, 27 degrees centigrade. So, he gave you some mass, let us say m kg water is given, glass ke andar there is a water of particular mass inside it, 27 degrees centigrade is room temperature, and water in the glass is also 27 degrees centigrade. So, what is the entropy of the water in the glass? That was the question. Now, is entropy, can we measure entropy at a state? Answer is yes, we can measure entropy at a state because it is a property. So, whatever is a property, that means it is a state function, state or point function, and I can measure that particular property at one particular state also. Now, how to measure it? You know, for the formula dq is equal to TdS. Second law, if you see, this is the formula for us. That means I can write ds is equal to dq by t, and the formula for dq is mCp dt by t. So, if I integrate both sides, I get S2 minus S1 is equal to mCp log of T2 by T1. This formula all of you know, this is the formula used for liquids. S2 minus S1 is equal to mCp log of T2 by T1. Now, many of the students think that since it is change in entropy, so we can calculate change in entropy, but we cannot calculate entropy at a state. He is not asking you to calculate change of entropy. He is asking you to calculate entropy at a state, at a point. So, how to do that? You need to take a reference, something like the way you calculate potential energy. If I ask you what is the potential energy of this pen, unless until you take a reference where you assume potential energy to be 0, you cannot calculate the mg into h. For calculating height, you need to take a reference where you assume that potential energy is 0, and you say that is a datum, and from datum you can calculate potential energy. Similar to that, I need to take a reference where I assume that entropy is 0. So, I will have a reference state for me, and that I will define. Now, for the room, let us say temperature, reference temperature, I take T1 as 0 degree centigrade, in our case 273 Kelvin. So, at 273 Kelvin temperature, I assume entropy to be 0. Now, I am to calculate entropy at temperature 27 degree centigrade, which is 300 Kelvin. So, what I will do, m is given to me, Cp for what is 4.18 kilojoule per kg Kelvin, log of T2 is how much? 300, T1 is how much? 273. So, 273 is T1, T2 is 300, put these values in Kelvin, and I assume S1 to be 0. So, that will give me direct entropy at that particular state, S2. So, that gives me S2. So, what is entropy, what is enthalpy, what is internal energy at a state? Remember, these are properties and you can calculate these at particular point, and he asks you this question very frequently. So, I think you have understood this. This was the actual question asked last year. Thank you.